Let's learn about while loops. For loops allowed us to iterate through each element of a list. They are the most common form of iteration in Python. However, there is another kind of iteration called while loops. Notice how the syntax for a while loop is similar to that of an if statement. We have the word while followed by a condition ending with a colon. Then we can have any number of statements inside the body. Remember that this body, like a for loop or an if statement, is indented with 4 spaces. While statements are actually very similar to if statements. However, instead of executing once or none, they'll execute repeatedly until the condition is true. When a while loop is executed, the program follows a similar looping behavior as a for loop. Here we can see that behavior in a while loop that counts down from 4. The program tests the condition, and if it is true, then it moves through each statement in the body. Then it returns to the top and tests the condition again. If it is still true, it repeats the previous loop. Otherwise, it skips to the end of the while body. A tricky thing about while loops is that it is easy to loop forever by accident. Consider the code below. Because the variable countdown is only ever increasing, it will never reach 0, and therefore the loop never ends. The for loop is almost always superior to the while loop because they terminate after the list is processed. It is almost impossible to loop infinitely. Most of the time, you should use a for loop instead of a while loop. As an example, consider the counting code shown below. Instead, it could be efficiently replaced with a for loop that calls the range function, which consumes an integer and produces a list of integers counting up to that number. One of the very few use cases for a while loop is dealing with repeated user input. For instance, the read, evaluate, print loop that powers a command line like IPython uses a while loop. The pattern shown here is one way to handle repeated user input. This code repeatedly asks for words until the string exit is given, at which point it will exit the loop.